Good morning, everyone. My name is Brad Holt. This is the first of what will be called the Daily Tirade. It seems like the people that run this country, the 535 people in Washington, are the 535 people, and there's 300 million people that are suffering from what they do, what they don't do, from the way that they behave, and also from Wall Street. I've been threatening to do this for a while. I'm a little uncomfortable with it, but just reading the daily news is very difficult to deal with on a basis of just being an average person that doesn't make a couple of $100,000 and can't invest in the oil markets. My number one deal today, which I'm going to cover, is the price of gas and oil. And as a basis, and this will be most of what these reports are about, as a basis, the price of oil, we have so much oil. We're the world's number one oil producer now in natural gas, and we're right there on just regular oil. The world is afraid of us. OPEC is afraid of us for how much oil we have. And they keep talking about there's a glut of oil in the world. There's just so much of it every place. They talk about the fact that they're going to stop drilling and fracking in the United States because the price of oil is too cheap and they can't make any money. And so what today's news says that crude prices are up on weak dollar. The oil prices rose on Thursday as a weaker dollar made fuel cheaper for holders of other currencies in the hopes of a last-minute breakthrough to keep Greece in the Eurozone. And right underneath that, it says oil prices slipped on Thursday after data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration showed domestic gasoline stocks rose by 460,000 gallon or 60,000 barrels per day compared to the analysts' expectations of 314. So we've got all this oil. We're closing down drilling here because they say they can't make any money, and yet the production is 460,000 barrels a day instead of 314. Instead of the price going down because there's such a glut and because there's so much oil, the price is going up. Wall Street is making bets based on weaker dollar and other people's economies, and basically we're getting screwed. And there's no one in the United States, no one in a position of leadership that is sitting there saying, stop screwing the American people. The average person has trouble buying bread, milk, and eggs at the store. You don't have to own a car to get screwed by gas and oil. You have to buy groceries to feed your family. The price of eggs goes up. The price of every product in the store goes up with transportation, where they throw fuel costs. Everything that has to deal with fuel costs, the prices that all went up, and the excuse was it's an oil-based product, it's an oil-based product, it's an oil-based product. The price of oil came down after 6 years. It took 6 years for the price of oil to come down, and it took 2 months for them to raise it right back up to where diesel here in Texas is almost at $3 a gallon again. $2.60, $2.70, $2.80, $3. And that's probably less expensive than a large portion of the country. But it's still 2 to 3 times more than it should be, especially based on if it's supply and demand. Gas should be 50 cents. We have it everywhere. We can take as much as we need until we find viable alternatives to energy than fossil fuels. But right now it's there. Our oil companies and our government and Wall Street are combining together to do to the United States people, the citizens of America, what OPEC did to the United States for 40 years. And that was, this is the price today, and this is what you will pay us today for oil if you want it. Let's take a look here, folks. The stock market is roughly at 18,000. It's more than it's ever been in the history since the stock market started keeping records. That's above a minimum of 900, where I think it was 2009, the stock market was 800 or 900. Now it's 1,800, or 18,000 rather. And there really is a 1% now. A handful of people are getting filthy rich, and most people have trouble getting to work. The people that had homes when we had the big crash in 2008, 2009, people no longer could afford their house payments. Everybody all of a sudden didn't have any more money because they were spending, $100, $200, $300 a couple times a month to buy gasoline for their car instead of in that bad loan that they had, where at least they were able to pay for it. No one in this country, leadership, not a single person, has stood up and said, stop screwing the American people. We have a resource that we're the #1 in the world now. OPEC can no longer hold us hostage, and our oil companies and our government together are doing this. If gas was back down to 50 cents or $1 a gallon, everyone would fill up their cars. Everyone would take their money and go spend it on other things. I'll put another deal on here that shows for every single penny of the price of gas going down, it's worth $1 billion of economic increase to the households of America. $1 billion per penny. Gas goes up 40 cents. It takes away $40 billion. It goes down 40 cents. It increases $40 billion to the American economy for households, energy households. So I may have rambled a little bit. I apologize. But somebody needs to take notice in leadership. Someone needs to stand up and defend us. Wall Street literally is manipulating the market on a daily basis, and it doesn't make any difference what they say. They're stealing from both ends. There's a glut of oil, but we're going to raise the prices. Somebody else's dollar is stronger, so ours is weaker. We're going to raise the prices. It doesn't make any difference. It's like real estate. They're going to tax you no matter what you do. If your property values go down, they'll find another way to raise it. If the property values go up, then they have legitimate, they say, reason to raise your taxes. Oil has become worse than that because every single person in this country, no matter what you do, no matter where you live, no matter where you buy, is suffering from the price of gas and oil because it's artificial and it is manipulated by Wall Street. And the government's not going to give up any dollars, tax gas dollars. But if gas was back at 50 cents or $1, they would sell a hell of a lot more gas. They would make more money overall than they're making now. They're just betting. It's like in a restaurant. If you sell steaks for $30 and the business is slow and you raise the price to $60, you can sell less steaks and try and make the money that you'd like to make. And it's not good for the consumer, and it's not going to last long in the restaurant. But we have a government, and we have the oil industry, and we have Wall Street that have got a hold of us, and they have no intention of letting go. And if you're a presidential candidate, open your mouth, defend the country. And for all the people that are in Congress, I would say with the exception of Ted Cruz or Rand Paul, just because they irritate Congress and they piss them off by doing things that the rest of the Congress doesn't want them to do, the rest of these people that want to be the president on either side have stood there for the last 7 years when Obama's been president, and they've watched this guy. They've not called this guy a liar that he is. They've not accused him of breaking the law, or not rephrase that. They have not charged him with breaking these laws. They have not done anything to go after him for the laws he's breaking of this country that are on the books, and now they want to be our leaders. So people like Lindsey Graham that says, I want to be your leader. For 7 years, you've kept your mouth shut, and you haven't done anything to oppose this man that hurts his country every day, in my opinion. And now you want to be the leader of this country to do something you haven't done for 7 years. Take a hike. You're muddying the waters and you're wasting time. But the rest of you that want to be president, if you were in the Senate or you were in the Congress and you're running and you stood there for the last 7 years and did nothing, you should take a hike too. You had your chance. You didn't do it. And don't give me the double talk now that you can do something and you're willing to do this and that because you kept your mouth shut when you had the opportunity to cover your political ass. My name is Brad Holt. Hopefully I'll be able to keep doing these. In a lot you can tell is off the cuff, but it's what's happening to us every day, and people don't want to talk about it. They're afraid to talk about it, or they say, what am I going to do? Maybe we can find someone that will stand up and say, you know what, the American people are getting screwed. Wall Street is manipulating the market. The government is afraid to do the right thing and let the gas prices go down so we can afford them, or they're restricting drilling, or now, as they are saying, they're cutting down the production in shale oil because there's so much oil. So they make so much oil, and now they're going to raise the prices more so that they can quit making the oil that they can't sell, and yet the markets go up, and the gas prices go up, and the gas prices go up. I hope you'll spread the word. I hope you'll support me in your thoughts, your purchases, your comments, and I will say one last thing. I've called my senators, I've called my congressmen, I've done it locally, I've done it through the state, I've done it through the government, federally, and they don't care what you say. They just smile, they say, okay, we'll pass it on to so-and-so. They don't care. We're not holding them responsible. And until we start hitting them financially, then that's the only time we'll make a difference. And I know how to do that, and I'll explain that or give some of that thought in another segment. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I've done something to stimulate your thoughts or opened you up to at least considering what I'm saying.